Roger Waters, who's causing quite a controversy yet again. Berlin police investigate Roger Waters over Nazi-style uniform at concert. Pink Floyd singer wore costume during performance in which he imagines himself as a fictional fascist dictator. My. You need to register to keep going? I don't think so. I don't... Wait a second. That's terrible. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. This is... Let me see if this... There we go. There we go. Is this better? Yes, it is better. Thank you. I just had to sign in real quick. So let's watch what people are getting all bent out of shape in, and then we'll kind of get into this article. So this is what... what's going on? Oh, how dare you. Roger the Rabbit Waters. I can't play it. We'll have to go back, and then we'll play it. And then we'll... So this is what's going on with this guy. Here he goes. This is his show in Berlin. So people are mad about that. And, especially in a city within a country like Deutschland, or I'm not saying that right, I'm sure, but or Germany, they have laws against these kinds of things. But apparently the law, it's okay for you to display this kind of imagery as long as it's something to do with education or it's an artistic value. And I think people are kind of going after Roger Waters because he's been doing this same show with this same gimmick for the last 40 some years, right? Like ever since they released The Wall. And if you guys never seen The Wall, it's pretty wild. It's a pretty good movie, and it goes with the music of The Wall from Pink Floyd. But let's just show some movie dictator. So in the movie, the main character ends up going crazy. He's like he sort of isolates himself. He becomes famous, and in a drug-addled fantasy, he turns into a dictator or fascist. And so this is some of the imagery from that. So if you guys just look at this is like the dude who played it. I think his name is Bob something. Look. Movie dictators, yeah. And they've been doing this for years. And not only have they been doing this for years, but Roger Waters has been dressing up in these kind of outfits for a long time. And in fact, in 1990, he did a famous Berlin The Wall, which was more directed towards, I believe, the Iron Curtain? Is that what they were calling it? The wall that divided north and east and west. Isn't that how it was? What was that called? Anyways, The Wall concert in Berlin right here. So he's been performing like this for a long time in Germany, and it's just interesting that now they're kind of going after him. Well, he's also been involved in some other things, like a lot of people consider Roger Waters anti-Semitic, and he says he's not anti-Semitic. We've read some interviews by him. There's things that I don't agree with him. But he's speaking his truths, whatever, and he's talking out the way he wants to talk out and express himself, which, I'm all about freedom of expression. And I don't think that what he's doing is necessarily illegal in Germany. Of course, I could be wrong. But it seems like, just from what I've been looking at, it seems like this fucking keyboard. It seems like he's just been doing this for years already, and no one's been complaining about it until he started speaking out against the treatment of the Palestinians from Israel. He's a part of this organization called BDS, and let's see. So this is him in Berlin. Let's see. Dictator Roger. Where's the original? I found some pictures of him in like old garb where he's like dressed like a general or something. But this imagery right here, this leather coat, this definitely screams out like, you know, some Nazi style uniforms. But again, he's making a comment on fascism, and it's actually the movie is in a way a mocking fascist dictatorship. So anyways, with that said, let's get into this article, because it's probably going to be able to explain this a little better than me, which I am just stumbling over my words right now. So everybody enjoy that. Police in Germany have launched a criminal investigation into Pink Floyd co-founder Roger Waters over a Nazi-style uniform he wore at a recent concert in Berlin. An investigation has been opened over the costume displayed at the concerts on the 17th and 18th of May. Berlin police spokesperson Martin Hallweg told The Guardian. So is it anti-Putin? So it is anti-Putin also. No. So that's the one thing that I don't agree with Roger Waters, that he kind of, I don't think that he's pro-Putin, but he definitely makes Putin sound like a nice guy you want to have beers with, when Putin is definitely like a wild ass Russian dude who's trying to reconstruct the Soviet Union. Like, that's what he's saying, you know. Part of what I do agree with him is that he says that we should be listening to these other people talk, like these other leaders saying what they don't like, because of the current situation that's going on in the Ukraine. NATO's encroachment of Russia. But when you listen to Roger Waters, and we've talked about this on stream before, when you listen to him talk about Putin, he does make him sound like he's fucking Santa Claus, right? Just I'm just like, I don't know about that. Seems like Putin's a piece of shit. But again, I think that our leaders are pieces of shit as well, who are sort of pushing the Ukraine into this. And the United States right now is in a proxy war with Russia, where 90% of those profits are going to these international conglomerates, these war machine companies like Boeing and I don't know, I can't think of all of them. Anyways, the war machine is being fed. And, so I'm displeased with all the leaders involved right now, because we should be pushing towards peace, is what I'm saying. I'm sending my drone to Moscow as we speak. You better calm down, moving Dutchman. You're going to touch it. You're going to touch a door handle, and it's going to have something sprinkled on it that was sent from Putin. What I say is Putin effed up. Yeah. I think what he did was wrong, but he has been telling us for a long time that this is what's going to happen if we don't stop encroaching on, if NATO doesn't stop encroaching. I'm against the war in general, because I'm against war. So I think that we should be moving in a direction of peace. It's going to be worse. Yeah, I think it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. We're going to send over F-16s now. It's like, oh, God. America's intervention. That's what we do. We're interventionists. We intervene a lot, and I don't think that that's necessary. We have a lot of problems going on in America. I'm not in support of the war. I'm not in support of sending billions of dollars overseas right now, when we have people in the streets who are hooked on trank. Right? Like, yeah, trank is a horse tranquilizer mixed with fentanyl. And when you see people bent over on the streets right now, like, we have so many problems right now. I don't think we should be spending billions to fight some proxy war, which is making a few people richer, right? Like, if we were going to intervene, I think we should do it in a way that finds peace fast. We need to find a path towards peace, is what I'm saying. However that looks, I don't know what that looks. The U.S. do help your economy in the future. Maybe it'll help our economy, but when you think about what these companies do, they put all their money offshore, so they're not even really paying taxes, right? These multi-conglomerate international companies, they don't really pay taxes like they should be paying taxes here. They should be paid. All that war money should be going back into the country, into the state, into the federal government. But they have all their businesses on offshore accounts that don't get taxed the same way as they would if they were here in America. So it doesn't really help our economy all that much because they're just taking that money and putting it overseas and making just a few people more money. It's like when they showed Jeff Bezos literally paid zero taxes in 2018 or something. They showed that Jeff Bezos, the guy who's created Amazon, didn't pay any taxes 1 year. So you have these multi-billion-dollar companies who are just, so it literally just going straight into the pockets of the war hawks, and then all the politicians that sort of back that up here. They're getting kickbacks through campaign donations. They also get insider trading information. So, because for whatever reason, our congressmen or congress people here have a great insight into the stock exchange for some weird reason, somehow, some way. They just know. If the war gets worse, that doesn't stop. That's going to get negative result for all of us. Yes, I agree. That's why China is not going to help Russia. They say that publicly, right? But I think China is helping Russia by buying all that oil. China is definitely supplying money to Russia. They're working things out. They're doing war games together in what's the sea? There's a sea that they're just like running war games and stuff in. So it's definitely more complicated than I can explain, especially someone who's fried out as I am right now. In any case, it's a complicated situation, and the best way forward, I think, is to find a peaceful ending. So millions of Russians and Ukrainians aren't dying, because no one should be dying. That's the message here that I'm trying to put out. It's like, war is awful. It's just terrible. We shouldn't be provoking it in any way. We should be finding a way towards peace as soon as possible. But that's not what's going to happen. Anyways, an investigation has been opened over the costume displayed at the concerts, and on the 17th and 18th of May, Berlin police spokesperson Martin Hallweg told The Guardian, displaying symbols of Nazi rule, including the swastika or SS insignia, is illegal in Germany, with exemptions for educational purposes and in artistic context, which we're kind of talking about already. The legal concept incitement of the people, which often applied to trials relating to Holocaust denial in Germany, makes it illegal to assault the human dignity of national, racial, or religious groups or a group defined by their ethnic origins. The context of the clothing worn is deemed capable of approving, glorifying, or justifying the violent and arbitrary rule of the Nazi regime in a manner that violates the dignity of the victims and thereby disrupts public peace, which is a reach because, again, this has been going on in Germany for a long time. He's been doing this same show and the same sort of setup for years and years until now. And a big part of that has to do with his involvement with the BDS, he's spoken out against Israel, And Israel is is an ally of the West, and we're not allowed to criticize Israel. We're not allowed to speak on Israel and what they do because, of course, they are perfect and they do nothing wrong. But according to Roger Waters and a lot of people, Palestinians are being mistreated within the borders of Israel. So they don't like that, which they're calling it a genocide. They're calling it a genocide. They're calling it what is that called? I want to say patriarchy, but that's not it. What is it? Fuck, I can't remember. Anyways, let's just look up BDS. Oh yeah, so here's this is from a couple years ago. Roger Waters is talking about his involvement, and this is some of it. So this is the BDS National Committee's Facebook page. He went live on it in 2017. The Palestinian Campaign for Academic and Cultural Boycott of Israel is excited to host conversation with Roger Waters on his support for the cultural boycott of Israel and Palestinian rights. Roger Waters is an English rock musician, singer, songwriter, and composer. He's best known for bass player and co-lead vocalist, lyricist, and principal songwriter in the rock band Pink Floyd. I wish this told. Let's just hear what he has to say here.
Well, my end goal is the same as the end goal of anybody who's involved in BDS, which, as you know, is a non-violent protest movement. It was started by Palestinian civil society. Essentially, I was convinced that all of the people who live in that region should have rights, and all of them. So that's all our Jewish friends who are in Israel who live there, but also all our Palestinian and Arab friends. They should have equal rights, and that is my only beef. Just as all the people who live in the United States of America should have equal rights, all of them, regardless of their color, creed, race, or religion. My personal view is that there is a valid and legitimate picket line that has been organized by BDS, and I would prefer it if colleagues in my business did not cross that picket line.
And so there you go. That's just like a brief statement about it. And so he's called upon his friends in the music industry to boycott Israel from playing in Israel because of the treatment of the Palestinians in Israel. Again, I don't know too much about this. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know if it's true or not, but you know, in my head, yeah, it's evil if you're going to mistreat people because of their race, their race, their religion, their ethnicity. It's evil. It's evil, but it's pretty prevalent around the world, and I think we all know that there is beef between Israel and Palestine, and with Islam and the Jewish faith. They've always sort of had sort of this, butting of heads. So, I don't know what's going on over there, but I do believe in freedom of expression, and he should be able to express himself the way he wants. And I think it's interesting that now they're opening this investigation on Roger Waters, even though he's been performing the wall in Berlin, in Frankfurt, in Germany for many, many years, doing this same sort of act, doing this whole section of the show of the wall where he dresses like a dictator and the main character kind of goes crazy. It becomes this fascist dictator mocking fascism. He's been doing this for years, but in the last few years, he's been speaking out against Israel. And so there is a whole, here in the States, we have lobbyists. For Israel has lobbyists. It's one of the biggest lobbied countries in the world, especially here in the United States. They have many lobbyists who are out there trying to push their agenda. And I'm not trying to say there's some like Jewish agenda or anything like that, but they are very close to the West. So it's it's become very normal for anything that's become sort of a protected class or protected group of people. You can't speak on them or criticize them without facing some sort of backlash. And I think that's sort of what's happening here with Roger Waters. Again, I don't agree with everything Roger Waters says or does, and I don't know what's going on in Israel. I don't know if there's Palestinians over there being murdered because of who they are and what they believe. But if they are, if that's what's happening, that's awful and it's evil. And then, and that would give him every right to sort of protest this. But again, I don't know anything about it. I'm not trying to comment on it. I don't know. In any case, so at the concert at Berlin's Mercedes-Benz Arena. Okay, so this is funny too. At the concert at Berlin's Mercedes-Benz Arena, Waters appeared on stage as the character Pink from the rock opera The Wall during a performance of the song In the Flesh, wearing a black leather trench coat with a red armband bearing 2 crossed hammers instead of a swastika. In the rock opera, the song marks its protagonist's descent into drug-induced hallucination in which he imagines himself as a fictional fascist dictator addressing a neo-Nazi rally. When Waters and the German band Scorpions performed In the Flesh at the concert in the no man's land next to the recently toppled Berlin Wall. That's what it was called, the Berlin Wall. God damn it. In 1990, Waters wore a military uniform closer resembling those worn by the Chilean dictator Augusto Pinochet, which is this right here. So this was next to the Berlin Wall that they performed this. So here he is in his dictator form. He's taking off his leather jacket. Right there is his leather jacket that he had on. Let's rewind a little. Make this bigger. Look, he comes out in his leather jacket thing. Again, this is in 1990. This is 23 years ago, right? Wait, no. This is 33 years ago. Shit, I'm fucking old. And he's out here singing. So now it's a problem. Now it's a problem after he criticizes the Israeli folks. And, you know, whatever. We're not. I don't know what the validity of that is, so we won't go there. But let's go back to the article here. In 1982, in the 1982 film version, The Wall, Bob Geldof, I don't know if you say that, if that's right, performed the same song in a Nazi-style uniform, and Waters wore a similar costume as part of his 2010-13 The Wall live tour, which included 9 concerts in Germany. As part of the investigation, police in Berlin would look at the footage of his previous shows in Germany and assess whether the costume has been changed. Halweg said. Israeli authorities have in recent days criticized Waters less for the costume than a segment featuring the names of activists killed by authorities. Names on the list included Anne Frank, the Jewish teenager killed in the Nazi concentration camp, as well as Shireen Abu Akleh, I don't know, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, a Palestinian-American journalist who is believed to have been shot dead by an Israeli sniper. He also, there was other names like George Floyd was on there, and that young lady who was murdered, I can't remember her name, I'm just terrible at this. I don't know who Danny Dannon is. Israel's ambassador to UN wrote on Twitter what Waters had compared the Holocaust victim Frank to a journalist shot in an active combat zone, adding Waters seeks to compare Israel to the Nazis, which he has sort of done that in a way, because he's talking about how the Israelis are performing a genocide on the Palestinians. So he has sort of done that before. Berlin police will continue to gather evidence for approximately 3 months and then hand over their findings to the state prosecutor, who will assess whether Waters' act can be considered as incitement to hatred. Waters is due to play a concert in Frankfurt on Sunday that city's magistrate had tried to cancel, accusing him of being one of the most widely known anti-Semites in the world. Waters has always denied the accusations. And Frankfurt's administration court last month declared the singer's right to go ahead with the event while acknowledging that aspects of his show were tasteless. So Frankfurt has, there was a case that Frankfurt, and the funny part is that he put in a message on the front end of his show, which was, let's find that, hold on. This is talking about how they're defiling the name of Anne Frank. He's also said to have had a giant inflatable pig branded with the Star of David, a Jewish Holocaust victim name lit in giant neon lettering, and a musician wearing a Nazi-style uniform while goose stepping on stage were among the more disgraceful scenes during Roger Waters' recent musical performances. So I can see how in a country like Germany they would be really, really protective and really, against this kind of stuff. But again, why is it now that they're choosing to do this, and why not for the past however many years that he's come through there doing the same show, talking about the same shit? It's just interesting now that they're sort of picking and choosing where and when to do this. And again, it's probably because he's critical of the Israeli government. They even got the Israeli government to tweet something too, which was wild. Let me see. Let me see. The New York Times was among the outlets that linked the contents of Waters' performance to his support for the boycott, divestment, and sanctions campaign, and his views that have long been critical of Israel, which is a rather toned-down way of summarizing the opinion of a man who once likened the Jewish state to Nazi Germany, which, again, that's what he's done before. Where is... This isn't the one. Hold on. I'm trying to find the article I had. Why didn't I just have that up earlier? I'm such a fucking turd. Waters said his performance was clearly to show opposition to fascism. Following the concert, Berlin's Mercedes-Benz Arena, which again was a big supporter of the Nazi regime. There's a picture that you can find where Hitler's riding around in a Mercedes-Benz. So, I mean, I don't know what that... anyways, German police spokesman, yes, we read that. Waters' jacket include a red armband, two-cross armband with two black crossed hammers on a white circle, an outfit that he has worn in previous shows dating back several years. This, we know that. Police authorities have said that once the allegations have reviewed... this is what the Israeli government tweeted. It said, "Good morning to everyone but Roger Waters, who spent the evening in Berlin." Yes, Berlin, desecrating the memory of Anne Frank and 6 million Jews murdered during the Holocaust. That's quite a statement. In a tweet on Friday, Rogers wrote, "The elements of my performance that have been questioned are quite clearly a statement in opposition to fascism, injustice, and bigotry in all its forms. The depiction of an unhinged fascist demagogue has been a feature in my show since Pink Floyd's Wall in 1980. Pink Floyd's The Wall since 19... Okay. Waters also floated an inflatable pig marked with the Star of David at his concerts. In recent weeks, the musician has been traveling to cities around Germany as part of his This Is Not a Drill tour. However, the performances have been controversial. Munich and Cologne tried to cancel shows after Jewish organizations such as the Central Council of Jews accused him of anti-Semitism. Waters denies the accusations, and in a Facebook post this week, he thanked those who attended the shows in Germany. He also paid tribute to the White Rose movement, a resistance group during the Nazi period. The fact that some power in Germany and some at the behest of the Israeli lobby, have attacked me, wrongly accusing me of being an anti-Semite, and have tried to cancel my shows. Saddens me, Waters said. Walking around Munich yesterday afternoon, I couldn't shake off the feeling that I was in the presence of Big Brother. It leaves a bad taste. Waters is still scheduled to play his final concert in Germany on Sunday evening in Frankfurt. A British MP has called for Waters' gig in Manchester in June to be cancelled. Waters has made central controversial statements in the past. After Russia's full schedule of the invasion of Ukraine last year, he penned an open letter to Ukraine's First Lady. He said extreme nationalists in Ukraine have set your country on the path of this disastrous war. Yeah. He also went in front of the UN and said some stuff too. Where is he releases his own statement too, which we should read. Just to be fair. Here we go. This is what he said. Okay, so my recent performance in Berlin has attracted bad faith attacks from those who want to smear and silence me because they disagree with my political views and moral principles. The elements of my performance that have been questioned are quite clearly a statement in opposition to fascism, injustice, and bigotry in all of its forms. Attempts to portray those elements as something else is disingenuous and politically motivated. The depiction of an unhinged fascist demagogue has been a feature of my show since Pink Floyd's The Wall in 1980. I have spent my entire life speaking out against authoritarianism and oppression wherever I see it. When I was a child after the war, the name Anne Frank was often spoken in our house. She became a permanent reminder of what happens when fascism is left unchecked. My parents fought the Nazis in World War II, with my father paying the ultimate price. Regardless of the consequences of the attacks against me, I will continue to condemn justice, and all those who perpetrate it. So all these things that he's saying and doing, in his head, he believes that he's doing a good thing. Again, I don't know what the truth is, but why is Jamie Foxx? Jamie Foxx is trending probably because they're saying that Jamie Foxx was left paralyzed and blind because of the COVID vaccine. Just so y'all know. We won't get into that. But that is a good story we'll be covering on the TikToks, maybe. Anyways, so again, he's been doing this since the 80s, and they're choosing to do it. They're choosing to go after him now. It's definitely smells of some of lobbyists who are against Roger Waters, and what he's doing is speaking out against Israel. And again, I don't subscribe to what he's saying, or do I believe what's going on over there? I don't know what's going on over there. But if it's one thing I'm for, is someone's freedom to express themselves and to express themselves how they feel, especially through art. So, whether you agree with him or not, he's doing his thing. And I don't really think that Germany has the evidence to say that he was trying to incite some kind of fascist takeover. I don't think he's trying to get people mad. What is interesting, though, is that Germany has had a spike in anti-Semitism over the last few years. Germany sees spike in anti-Semitic crimes. Look at this. Let's go, Deutschland. Deutschland über alles. This is where it's at, baby. A number of registered anti-Semitic hate crimes in Germany hit a new upward trend in 2020, according to figures released by the German government and seen on Thursday by the Tassenspiegel newspaper. I don't know how I say that. The authorities have logged at least 2,200 crimes with an anti-Semitic background until the end of 2021. Some 55 of those were acts of violence. Only 5 suspects were detained by authorities, despite police investigating 1,300 cases. No arrest warrants have been issued. So, they're seeing a spike. And again, I can understand that a country like the United States that has a history of slavery, I could see that we would do everything we could to not let that ever happen again. I can see that with Germany. It's like something like that happens in Germany. They're just like, this can't happen anymore. So anything that's leading or anything that's sort of going in that direction, they shut the fuck down. So I can understand that. But I definitely see this as just sort of a hit piece on this dude who's been speaking out against Israel. That's really what it's about. He was talking shit on Israel, and they don't like that, and they were going after him. And this was a way to go after him. This was their perfect way of sort of, making something out of literally. I don't think it's nothing. It literally is nothing. What is he doing other than what he's been doing for the last however many years? So, I'm gonna, let me see. There was something. I think that's it. I think we're good. I think that's what I wanted to cover.